On Public Property today, can Katie and Paul agree on who should earn the hard cash and who should get the chance to pursue their dream? We get to see the more sensitive side of Marvin. And Olympic gold medalist Steve Redgrave decides what's next for his public property mate, Mark.
Can't believe you're doing this, Mark, but have we got some surprises for you today?
Public Property, the show which puts 7 people under the spotlight and asks you to point them in the right direction. Now today we discover what Olympic gold medalist Steve Redgrave has got lined up for Mark's next move. He and Mark go back a long way through their rowing connections, and Steve was best man at Mark's wedding. We'll see what he thinks is best for him now. Now yesterday Katie and Paul came into the studio fresh from their audition with Pop Stars judge Nicky Chapman, only to discover that one of them was going to have to give up their dreams of a showbiz career and work to support the other. Now these were the options that we asked you to choose from. That Paul should continue to try to make a career as an entertainer while Katie gets a job at the local shop, or should Katie work on a one-woman performance while Paul gets a job to support them, or should they fight it out between them as to who gets the regular job and who goes on to follow their ambitions? Well, you were clearly in a naughty mood last night because you decided that Katie has to work for her worst critic, local shopkeeper John, whilst Paul pursues a career in showbiz. And Katie was very brave about the result.
Oh my God, we've both got some proving to do. I'm going to prove myself here.
I know
I'll show you.
I know 4 people who are going to be so pleased with this. But I can't add any more charisma to that shop. They're lovely. It's good. I'm glad, and I think it's a good chance for you to go and do it without me whinging in the background at you, and
that's right. Give
it your best.
Yeah.
And I can prove that I'm not work shy as well.
You know, I still think she could make it as an actress. Now, last week you ruled that failed businessman Marvin from Manchester should try and get back on his feet again by working for his idol Richard Branson. Not that Richard Branson knows it yet.
It's actually a job interview that I've got this morning. Yeah, I do have views and opinions on that, as in I will get the job, however I shan't express them for fear of being called arrogant, but I will get the job. I don't even know what the job is. I'm going into the company of the man who is the man. I don't even know what position I'm going for, but we'll wing it and we'll win it.
Marvin's assuming, of course, that the man who is the man will actually give him the job.
I mean, I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive. I mean, I haven't been for an interview in years. Quite different. I'm normally the one that's been interviewing, but it should be a positive experience. You know, ask me why I want this job. I mean, I would ask that question. Steve.
Marvin. Hi, well, he's a Virgin Active. Nice to meet you. We'll have a seat through here. You tell me about yourself.
I'm 25. I'm a motivated, lazy person.
Right, yeah.
I'm somebody who likes to get jobs done as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Good.
I'm an entrepreneur. The whole Virgin concept, I love.
Over the next 3 days, we'll find out more about the real Marvin. You're making notes on me now as well, aren't you?
It's a habit, I'm sorry.
Well, I've got some reading for you to do anyway, so
excellent.
No problem. So we're looking for big personalities, we're looking for flexible attitudes, we're looking for people that can get stuck in, you know, they can transform themselves. Interested?
There's no I in team.
Absolutely. He's very intense about things.
You know what? I can't wait.
I don't want him to be high maintenance, basically.
The environment and the people are going to teach me kind of Virgin way.
Apart from his mum, there's one other woman in Marvin's life. That's baby daughter Millie, who lives with his ex-girlfriend Colleen. Before he begins his new job at Virgin Active, Marvin's dropped in to see her.
He walks through life making people hate him. He's always felt that he needs to have money and status to be valuable. And I valued him without that.
This one? Oh, Daddy do it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Marvin today is looking for in terms of life and relationships, but I think that the most important thing to him at the moment is succeeding as a businessman.
Daddy can't even do a zip.
I think what he needs is a strong woman.
Get on with Colleen quite well, although we will occasionally have a difference of opinion. But generally, we're quite grown up about it. Bye bye. Mills is going over to see Grandma and Nana. Grandma's flat. Mind you, babes.
So it's off home to Mum Tina, the one real constant in Marvin's life. I wonder if that's Marvin's idea of quality time. Whilst Marvin dreams of big business, the women in his life have time to reflect on what they think he really wants.
I think his idea of what the right kind of female is for him and mine are two very different things. Marvin tends to want long blonde hair, long legs, something that I would call getting a trophy on his arm. I think he needs somebody with a strong personality to put him in his place from time to time.
Go and give him a cuddle. You want to?
No.
You're not? Oh, poor Daddy, he's got nobody to love.
I've gotten on pretty well with most of his girlfriends. Those, of course, are the ones that I've actually met.
I think he's very careful who he does bring to meet me. I don't think he brings them all. He's a very open boy and very honest boy. And, you know, I just want him to succeed, and I know he will. He'll go to the top again.
So is Marvin as committed to finding the right woman as he is to making it in business?
Ultimately, in a summary of a nutshell of what I want, something that is just so tight that breaking it would be end of life type thing. Does the person exist? Of course the person exists. Otherwise, why am I carrying on? It's just a case of finding him. Hopefully. But you never know, I might have already found her.
But does she have blonde hair and long legs? We'll be catching up with Marvin on Friday and finding out a bit more about the women in his life. After the break, Mark prepares to put his DJing skills on trial in front of his workmates.
I've rowed at the World Championships, and I'm more nervous now.
Relax, Mark. I'll be gentle with you. Join me in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Public Property, the show where you write the life stories and shape the destinies of our 7 participants. Now, last week you used your voting power to give Mark the opportunity to fulfil a long-term ambition of becoming a DJ by going to work for a record company. After a couple of days, he was already burning the candle at both ends.
We're a little bit late, aren't we, on our second day at work? That's your boss. I don't think there's any excuses at all, is there?
Man the decks, please welcome Mark. I must remember to call you DJ Marky. It's not Mark. Now listen, I have to say, I'm dying to see this film because I haven't a clue what a DJ does. The last one I remember was the Hairy Cornflake. Yes, I am that old. So let's have a look at it and see how you get on.
On Public Property, Mark has gone effortlessly from diner to DJ. So he's moved on from mixing food to mixing music.
Salute!
Mark is fitting in well. At the end of day 1, he's been taken out by his new boss and the rest of the boys. He's already enjoying the glamorous side of the music business, but it may not look so rosy in the morning.
I'm just going to make a lot of contacts and talk to a lot of people. Make new friends.
Definitely like the deeper side of it, less of it.
Unfortunately, there's no Kay Adams, so what can one do? This is my boss from today. Hello. Steve. And how did I do today, Steve?
All right, mate.
What do you mean, all right?
Done well, done well.
Nice
We'll see you tomorrow.
Nice to see you.
There are a few sore heads around in the morning, and Mark is nowhere to be seen. He's not exactly impressing anyone with his timekeeping.
We're a little bit late, aren't we, on our second day at work? That's your boss. I don't think there's any excuses at all, is there?
No, not good.
Second day in, extremely late. I thought you were doing the 7:30 run as well this morning.
Basically, due to everyone dropping like flies this morning and people phoning up and not turning up and various excuses, we're a bit under it today.
I was with the 2 bosses, man. I can't remember anything.
No. You were with one of the bosses. The big boss is standing here.
One of the bosses, yes.
I am the main man.
I appreciate that.
Mark's going to be working very hard today. I don't think he knows that yet, but he will be. We'll be cracking whips.
Bump 1.
Mark's just found out he's got his first DJing gig, a performance in front of his workmates. He's never played for anyone before, so the prospect is making him unusually edgy.
I've got to go and play tomorrow morning to the whole company.
Oh no! You're joking! No pressure.
You should get some sleep tonight. It's like some of the world's greatest DJs.
Tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
You'll be cool, man. Yeah.
You're cool, I'll be dead.
He's quite nervous. It's like really important to him. He's like the 3 guys which sort of shape the whole of sort of UK club music are going to be sort of listening.
He's not speaking, he's nervous. This is brilliant, I'm so glad people have challenged him. He might fail.
Bit of peace and quiet for us all, I think. No.
Mark's left his friends and headed home. It's time to cram in some serious practice before the big day tomorrow. Mark's mum is not so sure how he'll cope with a career in music.
He probably thinks it's going to be freer. I'm sure that's not right at all, because I'm sure it's a great deal of hard work. But I'm sure he'll be able to do it.
This is a big break for Mark. He needs to make a living out of DJing. Despite being left a trust fund after the death of his father in a car crash, he's running out of money fast.
People automatically assume when they see the word trust fund that it's got an exceptional amount of noughts in it. And this just isn't the case. It has meant that I have still had to work very hard, finish all my education, make sure and apply myself to each and everything that I do, as I would have done, like I would have done, anyone else would have done.
Judgment Day has arrived. Not only will Mark play in front of a room full of aspiring DJs, but also top international DJ Christian Smith. He had a chance to grab some last-minute tips.
I don't mind how many people there are. I just know that you and John, Mark, and all the boys around here are watching, and I'm going, whoa, how much,
Don't think about that. If I were you, I'd just go ahead and do it. Yeah. It's just, you know, that's the way to do it. You know, not think too much about it. Because the more you think about something like that, the more it's gonna make you nervous, and the more likely you're gonna do mistakes.
There's lots of things going. Well, no, there's one thing going through my head on a repeat loop at 1,000 miles an hour, and it's saying to me that there's lots of very accomplished DJs downstairs, including Christian Smith. They're all going to watch me do something. I've rode at the World Championships, and I'm more nervous now.
Right, so we've got a little rig for you, Mark. Have you got some of your own? Yeah, you brought your own tracks along. Excellent.
Bit of a mixed reaction from the boys, but they've seen some potential and are willing to give him advice and a second chance.
Well, it was pretty basic. I didn't do anything, did I?
Perhaps we'll try that again in a week's time.
Yeah, recap.
A recap. We'll give you some
Well, we sort you out with some tunes and stuff here anyway. So
because
you need to build a set of records and then
the tips is practice, and that's the main thing. I mean, for me to get sat behind there with a television camera on me, you know, and a bunch of peers in front of you, it's not easy at all.
My hand was shaking so much that I couldn't actually hold on to the levers and knobs correctly. Still, there's life in the calf yet.
Well done. You were obviously really, really nervous doing that, but come on, that's not a real job, is it, for a grown man?
It is a real job. However, I think that I've re-evaluated what I want to do. I don't specifically want to go down the DJing line anymore.
Really?
So just as a single avenue, because there's so many other avenues in the industry, like promotions and producing and stuff like that. I think to be a DJ takes so much commitment that you have to throw everything else out of the window. I've done that before with the rowing, and I think even when you do get the good contacts and the lucky breaks that I've got now, it still takes everything in your life, and I think at 31 now, I think it's maybe a little bit too late, and maybe have to be a little bit more realistic about it.
Well, and there's also the point of paying the bills. I mean, as you said there, you don't have an unlimited fund of money, and I think we've seen in previous weeks that you've got plastic debts up to here, so you must be feeling that pressure, surely.
Definitely. You know, the bills are mounting every week, and I need something that I can get my teeth into right now and not kind of train as an apprentice, maybe, you know, an apprentice type thing for, you know, at least 4 or 5 years, at least.
Yeah. But do you really think the music business is for you? Because, you know, I hate to throw this at you, but let's look at your track record. Good pun. Yes, you've rowed and coached to an international standard. You've played rugby to a high standard, but you've lived in Australia, you've lived in Zimbabwe, you've lived in the States, you've been at catering college, you've been at art college, you've trained as a PE teacher, you've worked as a teacher. Is music just another little phase?
No, music's been involved in all of those. So it's always been there. As a sport, it's always been in every item you've just listed there. I guess what you're really asking me is, am I committed? And I reckon I am committed. I'm committed to everything that I do. It's just that, and I throw myself into everything. If something comes up, I just throw myself at it and say, yeah, let's have a go. You don't know until you have a go at it. It's only when you get somewhere down the track that you suddenly realise, this isn't for me, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. But do you want to find something that is going to be your long-term thing, rather than doing lots of little things and being committed to them as they go along?
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah. Well, listen, we don't know you that well. We're getting to know you a bit better, but someone who knows you extremely well is Steve Redgrave. He's known you since you were very young, and your dad actually coached him for a while as a rower. So we decided to ask Steve for a bit of an inside track on what he thinks of you, Mark.
Mark tends to drift around from one thing to another. He never really sort of fixes his sights on one thing. He's got lots of good ideas, but sometimes to pin them down are quite difficult. I think there's quite a lot of pressure for Mark to follow in his father's footsteps. His father was an outstanding coach and a rower himself, and I think there's that sort of aspirations for him to follow in those footsteps. But saying that, he's very good at being his own man. That he has tried rowing and he's been very successful at the coaching at school level. But if he sticks at that or goes into different directions, I'm sure that he'll be successful when he finds something that he really loves to do.
Is this all about you becoming your own man? You know, and you know, leaving the rowing behind, perhaps that was something that was very much wrapped up with your dad and your family, and this is about you being Mark.
All my life I was kind of brought up myself. I had put the pressure on myself to row, and it's only at a later stage when I realised that Dad was never coming back that I realised that I was doing it for the wrong reasons, and then after that I fell back on rugby, and it's only kind of through that period when I was playing rugby I was starting to look for other things, and music was one of them.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, being on public property is all about finding the right track that you want to be on for your own reasons, not anyone else's. So let's talk about your next big decision. Now, Mark, this week your options have been chosen by Steve Redgrave, so are you ready to place your destiny in the hands of the voting public once again? Yep. Steve, he is all yours.
Mark's a very good friend, but he tends to drift from one thing to another. Let's see if we can challenge him this week with this week's options. A, to do a set at a London club. B, to launch his own record label from scratch. Or C, to teach the staff of Prime Records Company to row.
OK, well, just to recap on those, Mark, we've seen you doing a set at Prime Record Company. We're really going to turn up the heat now. It's make or break for your DJ career. You have to perform a set at a UK club, and a top DJ will judge your performance. Or launch your own record label. Now, that will mean finding the artist, designing the image for the label. Or the third one, which you look most keen on there, I think, is to teach the boys at Prime Record Company to row. They've been giving you a lot of stick recently. Maybe it's payback time now. But you have to coach them to be good enough to race against your boys' team. And that'll see where your loyalties lie. What do you make of those?
They have no chance.
No chance. OK, if you've made up your mind at home, call the number next to your preferred option. There we go. Now, Council, what do we think would be the best choice for Mark here? Debbie, what do you reckon?
I think option 2, because if he puts the time and effort into setting up his own record company, then maybe he'll stick with it this time. OK, Mark?
I think option 1, he's gone this far, he may as well reach the pinnacle and then have a baptism of fire.
Ooh, that sounds a bit dangerous, doesn't it? OK, that's what the Council think. What do you think? That's the important thing. Call now. Mark needs your help. Well, while you're mulling that over at home, let's find out which of Steve's options the Council prefer. Council members, would you please join me in the inner circle and cast your votes on Mark's options, please? Well, if the Council decide that Mark should do a set in a London club, make or break, they'll vote red. You dial 0901 561 5001. If they think that Mark should launch his own record label, they'll vote green. You should dial 0901 561 5002. But if they think that Mark should teach his fellow DJs how to row, they'll vote blue. You dial 0901 561 5003. Those are this week's choices for Mark. Council, what do you reckon he should do? Oh, it's green. Set up your own record company. Well, you don't look too impressed by that, Mark. What do you think? Set up your own record label?
Well, out of option A and B, that's the one I prefer. But it's still going to be... I still don't think I'm ready for it.
You don't think you're ready for it? No. OK, I think you should tell the viewers at home, there they are, which one you do think that you're ready for.
There's only one choice, and that's C. Obviously, I can do C, but it's still going to be a huge challenge because they are the most unfittest people I've ever come across in my life, and my boys will whip them. But I'm not ready for A, definitely. That proved on Monday, and B is still going to be difficult, but I think C is the best one.
Well, you want to get the boys at prime into the prime and teach them to row. OK, well, we'll see if the people at home agree with you. But let's just have a final message from your friend Steve.
Mark, I do think you're a bit mad doing this, but that's the way you are. But really good luck. I hope the challenges work out for you, and I'll see you soon. I need to beat you at golf again. Good.